Board of Commissioners, Yamhill County. It is now 12:03, or 2:03, I'm sorry, and we will kick it off with what we have in the board binder today. And one of the first things I have here is a request from Silas referencing Health and Human Services, and maybe Mary, would you like to share with us what this is?
Okay, what this does is it's updating the program description for tuberculosis services. So it doesn't change the amount of money that we get. It just basically, it's been approved under board order. So I checked with Lindsay on whether or not we've got an uptick in TB, and we don't. We usually get 1 or 2 cases of active TB a year, and they're very time sensitive. You have to have a lot of the drug therapy and our communicable disease nurses' time. So we've got latent TB and active TB, and latent can go into active at any time. So it's one of those things. So the big risk factor is travel to foreign countries, and she's just basically saying that we're sort of status quo of what we usually have.
Okay.
So
if there's no further discussion, we'll put that on the consent agenda for Thursday. And then I have here minutes that need to be approved from, I'll just take these in the order they're stacked here. This is December 1st, 2016, the formal session. And then I have December 6th, this is the informal session. I have December 15th, formal session. I have December 20th, informal. And all of those are set to be approved. Do I have any discussion on any of those?
The only discussion is on the consent agenda. If it brings it up, I don't think I have to say anything. That I will not be. I'll let probably Mary take care of the approval of the whole consent, because since I wasn't on the board at that time, I really can't approve the minutes.
Okay, very good. All right, we have another piece of business in the folder here, and that has to do with the appointments and a resignation on the Special Transportation Fund Advisory Committee. And what we have is a request to appoint Amanda Ravinius, provider representative for Oregon Mennonite Residential Services, to serve a 3-year term expiring on December 31st, 2020. Appoint Donna Belander, a citizen, to serve a 3-year term expiring on December 31st, 2020. And accept the resignation of Cody Heimeyer from that board. So this will be on our consent agenda for Thursday. Any discussion?
I just might add, we did actually, from at-large, we did actually have 2 citizens that applied. One citizen rescinded her application when she found out it was STF and not general YC. So I'm in full, that means I'm in full bring up discussion to the consent agenda.
Okay, so that will go on the consent agenda. Okay, then we have a couple of other things that we will discuss later, but since we have John here and he's got a lot of roads to keep open, we'll let you go ahead, John, if you would, and do your report to the board, please.
Am I supposed to start with a song?
Well, or a little dance, whatever.
karaoke.
I'd like to hear and see that.
You honestly won't. I tried the shower, it didn't work. I'm going to start out with the weather, obviously, but I wanted to show you some stuff here that you're probably going to be faced, frankly, here within the next 2 to 3 months. This was a request, and I won't say who it was from, and I won't even say what the road is, but the girls took it. It's a slide on a road, and it's hazardous and whatnot, so we respond to it. We get a lot of these, and frankly, you guys get a lot of them too. That was the request. Those rocks are about the size of a baseball.
These rocks over here to the left?
So, my point being is that with the recent weather, not recent, it seems like it's been going on since,
They are there, Stan.
Early December.
The rocks are there.
actually Thanksgiving, I think was the
John.
first.
Why?
Well, read who it's from, Commissioner. I think that you ended up with a call on that one in particular, that's why I brought it to you.
Yes. She doesn't like me.
So what you're saying is,
You're going to have these, and the problem we have right now, our road system, now this is an emergency, the road's washed out. Predominantly throughout our road system, we have, that's asphalt roads and gravel roads, it looks like a war zone out there, and I'm not exaggerating whatsoever. We've had so much moisture, and that freeze and thaw has caused all the gravel roads to boil, and the mud's coming through just about every one that we have. You cannot drive one for any more than a mile without going through a mud zone. Right now, where we're at, even, yep. Even if things were good and where the sun was to come out tomorrow, which we know it isn't, it's actually going to rain 2 to 3 inches more tomorrow and the next day, which just compounds the problems that we have. It's going to take months and months to repair a lot of these road systems. So even if the sun did come out tomorrow, what you're going to be faced with is you're going to be faced with citizens calling and saying, why? They've got to remember we have 12 people on staff and 4 graders, and you days even like today, you don't dare opening that gravel road up today. You would destroy the road, and there'd be mud within a week or within a day. Mm-hmm. So I'm cautioning you that within the next 2 to 3 months, you're going to receive a lot of citizens' complaints. They will be justified. The problem is we just are not going to be able to respond to those complaints as fast as they're happening. Right now, we have 350 complaints on our schedule, and probably adding about 25 a day. So, it's no way that we're going to respond to them, and you're going to have some criticism, but we'll do the best that we can. All right, well, moving on, our HCP and our vegetation group and whatnot has really inspired a lot of people. Right now, we have a request from George Fox University, Linfield, and OSU that would like to be involved with this vegetation group and like to be able to do what we're doing is we have bought some instruments to be able to identify native plants and species and so on. And what we're doing is making a map of all of these throughout the county. Linfield, George Fox, the botany class would like to get involved with it. I think it's a win-win situation. Soil and water, as the commissioner knows, we planted 400 plants on Abbey, CUNY, Hendricks. We're trying to get together with some landowners, in particular one out on Abbey where the farming practices and the sterilization of the ditch line has caused us nothing but problems. That section we can haul this time of the year with rain. We can be hauling out there almost 24/7 to not keep up with the demand in the ditch. So it is a program I think that is well worth it. We're going to sit down with Sam Sweeney, Harold CUNY. I can't think of the gentleman's name that owns Abbey Farms.
Yeah.
John Stewart, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to try to develop some programs that would fit with their needs and also with our needs. Our needs is that we can't afford to have all this erosion going into our ditch lines. We have been, and we advertised for a roadmaster position. I think we've all in agreement. Ken Puffer actually sat in on the interview that the gentleman that was selected, you'll get a chance to meet him here within probably the next 2 to 3 weeks. We are putting together a proposal for this person. He'll come on and obviously he'll probably have to give his current position some time. So I would suspect 3 to 4 weeks from now we'll have that position filled. And frankly, I feel good about it. I think the young guy, well, I guess anybody's young compared to me. The younger person, let's put it that way. Is that better, Laura? Is that?
Well, we're all in that group here, right?
We're all of a certain
Am I
age.
the older?
Of this age, of this side of the table.
I feel good about him. I think he brings to the table the private sector. He's predominantly worked in the private sector his whole career. Well-spoken, and has a good work history. The building right now, I think you've been briefed on this. We did send you copies electronically of the RFP that we've proposing to put out. Christian, I think, in the review of it, Jed. On the schedule, I think the 23rd, we have a meeting on a contractor review board to bring it in front of you folks. If we still stay on schedule here, if everything, all the stars came together, I would suspect around 1st of July or whatnot, we would have the print and maybe a contractor ready to even start construction. So July, August still gets us in the favorable months in the summer to be able to, 3 to 4 months, he'd be able to box it in for the winter time. So I think that, if everything aligns right and we keep putting pressure on this to go forward, I think that it'll be a success. We're still working on a lot of.
Can I make just a couple comments on the building? I want to thank John yesterday when I had a chance to go out and look at the conceptual plans done by George Fox. I thought it was a very well-built building, very functional building. Matter of fact, I was really pleasantly happy. I mean, the whole building looked like, especially with being able to partner with Shemeketa and, giving them space or whatever they need. Look, I guess the question I have is, though, and I guess I'll address this to Christian, when we talk about a design build type of a building and going out for RFPs, I know with all the work Christian's doing is busy, he hasn't, it seems to me from my previous experience that these kind of contracts are really a specialty type of contract. If the county wouldn't be better off of actually taking this maybe in combination with Christian or taking off Christian's plate and bringing in a staff attorney or something that really knows specifically about doing these kind of contracts and the pitfalls of these contracts. That's just my opinion, because we brought in several times, we brought in additional that specialized in just certain types of contracts, and that's something that I don't know if the board's ever thought about doing that in previous projects or big projects like this, but that's something that I think in the future that it might behoove us well to do that. So nothing against Christian, of course, because Christian, I think, is very capable of handling this, but since it is a special type of a contract, if we might not be better off doing.
The contract itself, Commissioner, as I explained yesterday, is kind of a hybrid. It was taken from past design bid that the counties did. Actually, a Gaston design bid, and there was one other that I believe it was Willamina School District. So it is a hybrid, and it is what we've done is gone through and looked at it and said, okay, these sections should apply to us, these sections shouldn't. So we whittled down one from 150 pages to, I think, where are we? Probably 50.
If that,
Yeah.
not including the specs.
Yeah. But that I appreciate that, and that's, here going forward, I think we better stay on path just because.
Okay, that was just, a comment. I have no problem with Christian doing it whatsoever. But I just know at times, in this may not be that project as far along as we are, but, I think sometimes it may behoove us to look at specific things like this or other projects if we want to bring in an attorney that has that specific duty. I mean, we bring in consultants to do specific master plans, and so this is just something that we might want to consider as a board undertaking in the future, at least giving it some consideration in the future, so.
Now, you did the review and did your findings on it. I just saw the email. I was reading
Yeah,
through
we got
it.
the draft findings, which will be released tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those need to be available 14 days prior to the hearing. The
And
hearing is set for the 23rd.
was there anything in there that you were,
In the draft RFP
Yeah.
so far?
Yeah.
No, not anything that's jumped out at me. And Rick, I can tell you, I did nothing but public contracts for 7 years at DOJ. I've reviewed dozens, if not hundreds, of solicitation documents, hundreds of construction contracts.
No, well, I definitely.
Not that they're always
Yeah.
perfect, and that you can't.
Yeah.
I
sometimes
feel
benefit
comfortable,
from
I feel
a second set of
comfortable you
eyes.
doing it, I don't think it's a comfort level or anything if you do
Yeah.
it. But look, as we get to that point where we look at everything else that has to be done, if that's not something we might be able in the future, definitely we're too far along in this, but in the future, we might want to just give some thought.
Yeah. I think Christian, anytime he sees something come across his desk that he doesn't judge he has the time or the capability of handling, immediately says, we need to bring in outside counsel, so.
Well, I'll talk to Todd first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But he'll make the
And if it's
decision.
not something, if not something he
Okay.
can
Yeah.
do, then
I'm satisfied, I'm
yeah.
satisfied.
we'll contract out for
We've
a
been,
number of things.
yeah, we've been very cautious about doing anything that we didn't judge that our in-house people had the capability of handling, and we don't take chances with this type of thing. So.
We've done at least 2 or 3 design builds in the last couple of years. We'll see how these contracts work out, but I didn't see any big issues that jumped out. at me
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I think
far.
the more important thing for me is I'm very much committed, have been for years, to a design-build concept. I think that's how an organization, especially a government organization, can save money by going to a design-build, going outside the standard engineered construction, going to design-build. I'm a big proponent of design-build concept.
And since you did mention Chemeketa, I did have some conversation with Holly this morning, and she said Thursday they will have the vote, and she will be able to give us the green light on them moving forward with participating with us, and then we can have that conversation about lease and that type of thing.
Sure.
So they're that close, and she anticipates that happening Thursday. So
Good.
once we have that, and I told her it's critical because we are ready to go out for design build, and I need to know that she is definitely on board, or that Chemeketa is on board, so that we can define, number one, the space they're going to use, and number two, what the agreement looks like. So anyway, they're right on the cusp of getting that done. So
That's encouraging, that's
Yeah.
what I said about George Fox, Linfield, and OSU. We've got a lot of interest out there. I think that our program that we started probably 5 years ago now with George Fox, I think has been a win-win situation for the county and for the intern and for the senior grad class.
and when I had the Boeing people out here, I drove through and I explained to them what we were doing, how this was going away, and what we're doing, and they were really impressed with the idea that we were making that connection between the educational facilities and our public works, and what a natural tie-in. So again, it puts Yamhill County out there as being a county that's willing to think outside the box and do things that aren't being done on a regular basis. So anyway,
So if everything stays on schedule and whatnot, we would probably be starting off the ground sometime in July, August. I would hope to be the latest to have that team together and everything coming together. Right now, if you're aware that we have a tower also, a cell tower that's going to be built on the corner over there. I've had George Fox the group designing a parking lot that would accompany, would be either it'd be probably next year, as far as building their improvements to that parking lot, that'd be to the north of the building. You'll see what their requirements by the city was that they had to do 2,000 square feet of landscaping. You'll see what we're gonna do is out in front, we're gonna move the flagpole and do some landscaping. This was approved by the city so that we would get that landscape. There's no sense in them having to put landscaping in the back where there is no visibility of it, and it just isn't good. So you'll see us here within the next couple months putting a planter, essentially a 2,000 square foot planter out front. FEMA, we're still working with FEMA. We've got, we did do full courts. The road was slipping into the river on 2 places. This was from the event about a year ago.
Yeah.
So we finished that one. We still have a couple projects. Commissioner Starrett has that is also under the FEMA still, so we might be able to dovetail that new culvert in that drainage into the FEMA. I think we have something like 16 months to do that. Pumpkin seed, we are gonna go forth with that and do an open-end arch structure up there. That's also in working with FEMA on that project. They'll pay 70% of it. Our estimates are a little over $100,000 into that project.
Pumpkin seed, that's what the term I haven't heard before, so John, what's,
The road.
It's a road.
is that a
Seed
road,
road.
pumpkin seed road? Well,
Pumpkin seed
I
road.
know that, yeah.
Not the end of the earth, but
I thought it was some big arch or something.
You can see it from there.
That's an acronym. We'll tell you what it means later.
Yeah, I know so if I wanna know.
the commissioners are well aware of it.
Yeah.
We've had some, actually it was, the event last year took the culvert, a 5 or 6 foot culvert right out up there, so they were devastated for quite a while. The bridges, right now, in fact, Bill had gone to the DeYoung Bridge this morning for a meeting, so I haven't had an update on that, but right now, it looks like DeYoung is going to be about $500,000 out of our pocket. We budgeted accordingly. You'll see that in a couple months or a month. Palmer Creek Bridge is a new, not a new plan, but a new. Typically, what the state does is on like DeYoung bridges, they take over the management of the bridge and the rehab of the bridge. We have very little input, frankly, with it, other than it's under our direction in some aspects as far as design. Palmer Creek, we'll turn it completely over to us, and what we will do is it's about 1.5 is their estimate on that. So we'll be responsible for having a project manager on site and so on and so forth. I'm not too excited about their new project, frankly. I think that they have the expertise to do that. Smaller counties like ourselves, we have to either outsource it or else bring on more employees to be able to handle that type of work. But we'll see how it works out.
This is the first one they've done in the state, isn't it? This way?
Yeah.
We're kind of the guinea pig on this thing.
Yeah, luckily it's not too complex.
Well, we're just taking the top off and repairing those top pilings, aren't we?
Yeah, what they'll actually do though is will saw the deck, and then do all the work from the structure itself, and then
Right.
put the pilings in. Yeah.
Okay.
So it isn't really that complicated, frankly, but
It still needs oversight.
we are going to, with all of the stuff that is happening, we're going to go out. Our budget for next year calls for 5 temporary employees, but if you remember our budget last year, we still have time left that we can bring them on prior to the end of this fiscal year. So we'll be working with Laura as far as going out and advertising for 4 or 5 of these positions to get some personnel in there. RIAC I have this Thursday, I guess it is. We haven't met in 2 months because of the weather issues, so it's got a full agenda. We do have some citizens appearing. There's a new CRIP program that, up on Ingram Lane that they're applying for. Off of Oak. It's a winery back.
Oh, okay, yeah. Familiar with
Our kiosk is built, so we'll be installing that out at Sunnycrest, so Christian can see where his wine is.
Where are you putting that?
Right in the intersection out there.
On Sunnycrest and Fox Farm and Red Hills? Right by the, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're gonna
In
pave,
the intersection.
we're gonna pave out an area, so we'll be off to the
Yeah.
side. So it'll be-
Did we get the other one? Is that,
I'll know where to go.
I saw the temporary sign up. When are they gonna complete the replacement of the one that got?
It should be fairly soon. I mean, it wasn't too, I mean, as you would think.
Just took that one wing off, didn't it?
Yeah, and so we're just having it rebuilt, so. So actually had two of them damaged. One on Ribbon Ridge was damaged too. Someone slid into it. So, I mean, we're getting them fixed.
Those are great. We get a lot of compliments on them.
Oh, yeah,
The
great signs.
people can get off the road, and the maps are so clear. They know where they are and where they want to go. So
Yeah, even with current GPS, I think that they're still an asset to the
oh, I do too.
traveling
Yeah.
people. March 6th, we're gonna go back to a 10-hour shift. So it's that time of the year, and hopefully the sun will come out and get some work done. That's about all I've got, unless you have questions.
That's great.
So budget-wise, what has the overtime and the de-icing and the extra gravel, what has that done to your budget?
Well, the gravel comes out of my, the sand comes out of my gravel budget, and we're still underspent on that. But you gotta realize every 10 yards of sand we put down is 10 yards of gravel that we don't put on the roadway system too. Overtime right now, we're probably in the $85,000 to $90,000 cost range. And again, that's just strictly overtime. That's, we have 115 budgeted, so I mean we can come up on that pretty fast if the weather doesn't improve. Some of the issue that we have is that when the sun comes out, you really want to run some extra hours because of what I said at the beginning of this, and we're consuming that overtime budget fairly quick.
Okay, well, thanks for what you guys are doing. It's been sort of an epic winter so far, and
A lot of
it's a strain on you
A lot of
guys.
great compliments from
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that I'd point out is that, yeah, we do get the occasional complaints from people who have, and most of them are very legitimate, but I get 10 times more compliments than I do complaints, and especially those people who are adjacent to Washington County, and the comparisons they make,
They're known to complain anyway.
yeah, but they tell us quite often how the difference between the way our roads are maintained and what they see right down the street from them in Washington County. So my compliments, John. Your people are doing a great job out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, they have, the crew, I think, has spent, a certain amount of it is acceptable. And once you run as long as we have, I think the families and all the things that they're missing, and the overtime really doesn't mean that much at that time, so we're getting tired.
Yeah. Oh,
But
Weekends.
the sun's gonna come out next week.
yeah.
Yay.
Or maybe even Friday and Saturday this week. But what is Saturday and Sunday?
Love
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Okay, we have a discussion item, CPRD resolution request.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to bring this up. CPRD is attempting to get all the jurisdictions in the county, all the 10 cities, and the county as well, to sign a resolution that they would send to DLCD, which would basically, they want us to pass a resolution to advocate for trail system that they are so far proposing 4. There are several others, but they're proposing 4 trails, and they want us and the other cities to sign a resolution that says that we are supportive of this, and we can also add to the resolution that we want to participate financially. And just a little bit of background on what this is. It's a Transportation Infrastructure Finance and Innovation, or a TIFIA loan. It's $10 million for a 35-year low-interest loan. Let's see. We would borrow the $10 million. One of the suggestions by CPRD is that it would be added to systems development charges, and it would be added to, basically the debt we would sign on for. So a couple of things. They have no actual plan on where these are going to be. This is all kind of a moving target as far as a farmland. We are talking about farmland here on a number of these trails. For instance, one of them, Warden Hill Road, would have to be ADA compliant. One of them, they talk about going to the Abbey, going through the Abbey's property. They haven't contacted the Abbey, from what I'm led to believe. They want a connection to the Yamhill West Sider Trail. And I, not surprisingly, have some concerns about this, because we would be, in signing this resolution, to me, this is the hook. This says, okay, this isn't going to cost you anything, but you've pushed this forward to a degree that DLCD or the powers that be say, wow, look at all the widespread support for this. $10 million at a low interest loan. You've got 35 years to pay it off. We're looking at, let me get some figures here. $400,000 a year among the jurisdictions, and we would be, and CPRD, which is a taxing district, as you know. The reason why they're asking us to do this, and will be sending us a resolution to sign, is they say they want to make sure that we have time to put this lobbyist expenses in the budget. Now, the lobbyist is Summit Strategies, which is our lobbyist for the bypass. We're already, let's see, what are we spending on this lobbyist at this juncture? We just wrote a check for, what, 10 grand?
Yeah, we're in
We're-
over 100,000.
Their annual budget's $142,000 for this year, for 2017.
For all
Right.
the jurisdictions.
For all
and
the
county.
jurisdictions.
Right, I'm just saying that this is the same, so Summit Strategies is doing some of the preliminary work to get this loan. So my concern is that this is, as Yogi Berra said, deja vu all over again. Another trail system that's going to cost, what is it, a total of $12 million. This is on top of, as far as the cities go, they're going to have to work that out. One of the comments made was that Frank Sheridan in Sheridan was supportive of this, and I called him, and he said he was not. That they're obviously not going to want to have to fund something like this. It would be divided up amongst the various jurisdictions. So what I'm saying is this is another burden on the taxpayers. It would be $350,000 just for the phase one consulting phase. About $4,200 a month is what CPRD is now paying Summit Strategies for the work to initially. They're paying this now as we speak. One of the trails is Newburgh to Dundee, another one Dundee to Carleton, another one McMinnville to Carleton. There was talk of a trail to get to the Portland metro area. They're having COG, the Council of Governments, do the GIS on this rather. And so again, the bottom line is we are going to be asked to sign a resolution in support of this new funding package, this new debt. And my suggestion is going to be that we stay far away from this as
Commissioner,
possible.
the resolution would also signify the county's interest in sharing the cost.
Well, the resolution is for us to sign it, to advocate for the trail. In other words, to show support so that the funding would be they'd be accepted for this TIFIA grant. So then what we're saying is by signing on, they tell us it's not going to be a commitment to any funding right now. But I always think that when you get the hook in, as I said, we're supportive of it. So now who's going to pay for it? CPRD certainly can't pay for it. The jurisdictions, if you look at Willamina and Sheridan, how are these people going to pay for it when every single city in our county has budgetary concerns? So I would say my suggestion is we don't sign it, and if CPRD wants to advance this, then I think that they should do it and then have to explain it to their taxing district. But I don't think we need to be on the hook for another however many hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars.
I have to kind of agree with Commissioner Starrett, especially where we stand right now and with the not knowing what the legislature, if anything, what they'll do with the transportation package and I'm not convinced until we know more about the transportation package and the funding, whether at the federal level or the state level, for completion of the entire Newburgh-Dundee bypass. I'm just very leery to commit, potentially, as you say, Mary, get the hook in and commit Yamhill County to any further funding until we know exactly what the bypass is going to be and what it's going to cost, and we're done with that. So I have to agree with you.
And I think the other thing is the bypass needs to be our main focus.
I agree with
Before we start, cannibalizing what, now these are different funds and for different things, but this is supposedly a small project which is under $10 million or $10 million. But again, when you're dealing with these trails projects, they don't have acceptance by a lot of farmland. They have not gotten even an actual route of where this trail is going to go. They were trying to decide where to have it go. And I think that not only that, we're seeing some concerns in our own backyard with the Yamhill Trail that I think for us to start getting involved in something like this would not be smart.
Okay. We have not seen this resolution. This is just a precursor to the resolution coming to us.
You'll be getting it, I believe, at the end of next week.
Okay. Because I think it's a bit premature to even talk about a resolution until we define
I'd like to see it too.
what we're going to do.
Can't right
but
now see
I'd like to see the resolution. But
Right, just to let you know it's coming.
Yeah,
And
and
give you a
Which
little
is
background.
appreciate the heads up on that because I
Absolutely.
didn't see that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. I do want to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing our some real estate transactions. So if you would read that in. Now, to give Crystal time to switch to a separate tape, don't we have to
First,
do
we
some-
have to read something before you
Okay,
can switch
before
to
you-
the next
Before you
tape.
switch over.
Oh, okay, hold on, hang on. This will be Crystal's first
Yeah.
executive session.
Ready? All right, the Yamhill County Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.660. Oregon law allows the Yamhill County Board of Commissioners to meet in executive session and consult with staff and counsel concerning real property transactions pursuant to ORS 192.6602E. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6604. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Authorized representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No final decisions may be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we'll return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room.